So I've been getting a ton of comments about what I do for power and my power setup and all that, and how I have power out here. And I know a lot of people that are looking to get into off-grid stuff are curious about it, and it seems confusing to them. All I gotta say is, don't overthink it. It's really simple, and I probably have the most simple setup that you could possibly have. And I'll show you the whole thing in detail right now. This is not a product review for any of this stuff. I will never ever do those, just so you know. So this is just my honest opinion on this stuff. These came from Harbor Freight, and everything that I'm gonna show you comes in this kit. It comes in a box. I got it for 150 bucks, and these are all 25 watt individual panels, and they're all connected by a universal connector, which comes in the kit, and which basically makes this a 100 watt panel, one 100 watt panel. And then it comes with these mounting stands too. But I will show you exactly how these all work right now. So like I said, these are all connected by a universal connector, which is buried under the snow, and I don't want to pull on it because I don't want to wreck it. But off of that universal connector comes this cord, which goes to your charge controller, which tells you what's going on and that how much power your battery has and if it's charging. And then this comes with it as well. That just goes to your battery, and this is charging my battery right now. That's literally it. So it's the panels that all go to that connector. The single cord goes to this controller, which goes to your battery. Your battery is what runs your cabin, your fish house, or whatever you're trying to run, your RV. A lot of people think, the panels somehow are like what's running things. No, your panels just charge your batteries, and your batteries are what run your situation. So what I do, since I use car batteries, I charge these outside. If you want to charge your stuff inside and have it all inside, you're going to want to get the appropriate batteries for indoors, which I think are like the gel batteries. I mean, you have to do some research on that. I'm not 100% sure, but I think the gel batteries, they don't give off gases when they're charging, and these batteries can potentially give off gases. But what I do is I just unplug this, or I take the clamps off, and then I just bring this inside with me. I have two of these, so while I'm using one is charging, so that by the time that one's dead, this one's usually fully charged, and I just swap them. So I always got power going on. All I do with these is I run LED lights, or I charge my phone or laptop. That's pretty much it. So I'm not really running anything that crazy. And one of these will run my lights, charge my phone, laptop, all that stuff, no problem for 2 or 3 days. But what I do is I take this battery once it's charged, bring it inside the cabin, which I got all this stuff outside here because the lighting's better. But this is your inverter right here, and this is a cheap Harbor Freight inverter. This connects to your battery, which changes your power from DC to AC, which allows you to plug in your basic cords and stuff. So you can plug in, whatever you're plugging in there. And it's got a nice USB port there, so you can charge a lot of things at once with this. But this is a cheap small inverter from Harbor Freight as well. I think it was like 25 bucks. And yeah, like I said, I can charge my power tool batteries with this. It actually runs a lot of stuff. It'll run a TV, no problem. It runs quite a bit of stuff, but you can get a bigger one. But that's basically all solar is it's your panels. They go to your charge controller, they go to your battery, and then your battery will hook to your inverter, and then you can run AC 120 off of that. So that's all that is. On cloudy days and in the middle of winter, when it's like end of December, early January, when the days are really short and it's super cloudy, these do charge on cloudy days, but not very much. I can usually get like 0.4 volts into a battery, which is okay. But sometimes less than that, even if it's really cloudy. But what I do then is I have the generator, which is also from Harbor Freight. It's supposed to be comparable to a Honda, but it's half the price, and it had good reviews, so I went with it. But so yeah, I got options. I can fire this up if I want. And what I like about these style generators, is it comes with this cord, which you can plug in, and then this can go to your battery and charge. You can charge your batteries off of this. So it takes about an hour and a half to charge a car battery, and yeah, like I said, I'll just fire this up and charge both my batteries up on a cloudy day, and then I'm set for, a week, basically. So you can do that. And then anytime I have this running, I'm charging everything. So I'll plug in an extension cord here and just run that into my cabin. And I have a splitter on my extension cord, and I'll just charge up everything, laptops, power tool batteries, phone, everything. And so then I'm not ever wasting any time when this thing's running. This generator, I love it. It's cheap. And all this stuff is like your bottom of the line stuff. So I'm just showing you how you can do this really cheap. The generator is about 500 bucks. And, yeah, I love it. And the thing with generators is you got to follow the owner's manual on them. A lot of people just get a generator and then just run it and then wonder why it doesn't work in a year or why it has a hard time starting. And then if you follow the owner's manual and change the oil, replace the filters, do the required maintenance when you're supposed to, a generator will last you several years. So this thing, it works great. I do everything I'm supposed to from the owner's manual, and yeah, it seems to work perfectly fine. Never fails. I run it at 40 below. These panels charge at 40 below, even when it's really cold. Everything works fine. So for my situation, this works great. But I'm not running a ton of stuff. If you're running you know, if you're looking to run like a fridge and freezer and stuff, you're going to want a lot more power than what I have. But this is just the basic stuff. You know, my it's winter out, so it's always below 32 during the winter. So that's the outside is my freezer. I just keep all my meat and stuff outside, and then, you know, I have a cooler with ice bottles that I use for a refrigerator. So, and then I'm looking at getting a propane fridge this summer. So everything that I use is pretty basic. But anyways, that's my power setup. I wanted to show you guys. It's a lot of people have been asking about it, so that's what I do. And it's like I said, this is the cheapest from my research and everything. This is about the cheapest way you could go about it if you're just looking for basic stuff, you know, to run a TV or you know, charge your phone and laptop and all that. So I just thought I'd show you what I mean by the ice bottles. You know, I got this idea from Boss of the Swamp, which, if you're not familiar with that channel, that is like the off-grid Bible. I mean, he's got a video for everything that you want to know off-grid. His channel is actually Off-Grid Homesteading with Boss of the Swamp. Now, he had to change his name. But what I do is I always have bottles, you know, outside. I'll have a couple outside freezing. You know, it's freezing outside, so this works in the winter. So the ice bottles are freezing. I'll bring these inside, you know, I'll put them in my cooler, and that keeps my cooler at refrigerator temp. And the reason why you want to use the water bottles is because it keeps the liquid contained. You know, when you got, you all have just ice in a cooler, and then you have standing water inside your cooler, that's fine if you got, you know, cold beers in there or something, but, you know, when you got food in there, you don't want your food sitting in standing water. So the ice bottles keep your liquid contained, so you're not dealing with any water inside your cooler. So when these start to thaw out, you know, usually after, you know, a day or two, they'll start getting about half thawed. You just swap them out with the frozen ones, and then you got a box that's at refrigerator temperature. And this is all I need, you know, because all pretty much that I ever have in here is milk and, you know, some cheese. And then if I brought in some meat to thaw out, you know, and then I have it thawed out, you know, and I'm going to use it soon, I'll just put it in the cooler for a couple days so I have it to use when I'm ready. So that's all I do for refrigeration and a freezer during the winter. And then, like I said, during the summer, I'm looking at getting a propane fridge, so that's going to solve that. But I did have I did dig a hole. If you look at my earlier videos, when I was building this place, I was camped out here for long periods at a time. I think the longest I was out here was like 24 days or something straight. And I had dug a hole that was below the frost line, and I was able to keep stuff cool down there. And then I covered it with moss during the day, and that seriously works. That's what Dick Prenicky did when he was up at his place during the summer, and that's where I got that idea from. And yeah, it's legit. It works. But basically, one thing I want to talk about that nobody really talks about, that I found to be very beneficial for off-grid, is having a set of cordless power tools. You know, you have the generator, so you can fire up the generator and have corded power tools and run it like that. But the nice thing about the cordless power tools is they all run on batteries. So, you know, and if you get one of those kits, you know, you have the drill, the impact, the sawzall, the skill saw, usually a work light, and you know, maybe a radio sometimes, or a vacuum that'll run off your batteries. So you get quite a bit of stuff that runs off your batteries. And you know, with your solar power, you know, you have a way of charging these batteries up. And you know, if you got all your batteries charged up, you know, I have like 3 or 4 of these. You know, they last quite a while. And yeah, if you have a impact, a skill saw, a drill, and a sawzall, you can pretty much do anything in construction. I mean, you can do pretty much, I mean, most stuff you can do no problem. So I found it to be very beneficial. You know, like I said, it's got that work light. So for a long time, all I had was that work light. That's all I used. I would just plug in one of these batteries, and one of these batteries would run that work light for a long time. So, you know, I have the radio that runs off these. That's really nice. It's not, you know, running a cord, taking power from my car battery. You know, it's just, you know, one of these will run my radio forever. So, you know, and then it's just nice having these charged and being able to just, you know, go wherever you want and have all that stuff and be able to do what you got to do on the farm or, you know, at your cabin. So just wanted to share that, you know, and it doesn't have to be the, you know, an expensive brand, you know, like a Ryobi, or, you know, my dad got a really nice Porter cable set for pretty cheap, and that came with everything. Yeah, anyways, I wanted to share that with you because I found it to be very beneficial for off-grid. Well, there's been a change of plan with the wood stove again. You guys are probably laughing because I've been messing with this one so much, and then I had that little one in here for a while, but then I had this one again. Now I'm getting a different one, but or I got a different one. I ended up getting a good deal on it. It was $150. It's got the glass front. The pipe comes out the top. And the reason why I want that is because I got to get metal on I want to get metal on the roof this spring. Right now I just have the heavy duty tarp, which that works, you know, but eventually it'll wear out. And then if you get any hole in that whatsoever, you're gonna have water getting inside. And I just don't want to mess with that. So, and I also don't want to put a hole in my roof to run my pipe up. I would just rather not mess with that. Then you never have to worry about water ever coming in or any leaks or any of that stuff. And you don't even have to tinker with all that. So I just want to have it be one continuous metal run, you know, no holes in the ceiling. I'm just going to run the pipe out the wall. This one the pipe comes up, it starts with a 90, so I would have a 90, 90, 90, which wouldn't be good. So, you know, with the pipe coming out the top, it's just going to be a 90 and then a 90 up and out. Then I can just disconnect it right there, easy cleaning. But I'm going to put now that I have a trail, I'm going to bring in some mortar this spring, and I'm going to make a hearth and I think that'll look really cool with the stone going up the walls and everything, and then that'll really make the cabin pop even more. And then I'll be able to put the stove closer to the wall that way as well. And then like I said, just run the pipe out with the wall. It's quick and easy and done. No hole in the roof. So that's the new plan with the stove.